Itami Castle, 1574. A fortress so imposing, no army had yet managed to conquer it. For centuries, its stone walls stood as a symbol of defiance, a seemingly unbreakable stronghold. But in the midst of Japan's most turbulent era, a bold tactical gamble would change everything, proving that even the strongest walls can be overcome not by force, but by sheer ingenuity. The Sengoku period, or the Age of Warring States, was a time of relentless conflict in Japan. For over a century, rival daimyo or feudal lords battled for territory, honor, and ultimate power. Amidst this chaos, one warlord was rising above all others: Oda Nobunaga. His ambition was singular: to unify the fractured nation under his rule. His generals, some of the most brilliant military minds of the age, were the instruments of that ambition, spreading his influence across the land, one castle at a time. In the year 1574, their sights were set on Itami Castle, located in what is now Hyōgo Prefecture. This fortress, controlled by the defiant Itami clan, stood as a stubborn obstacle in Nobunaga's path to total domination. Taking it would not be easy, but for Nobunaga's forces, failure was not an option. Itami Castle was a formidable defensive position, built with strategic foresight. Its high walls, well-placed towers, and a loyal garrison made a direct assault suicidal. Understanding this, Nobunaga's commanders, led by skilled generals like Araki Murashige and a rising star named Hashiba Hideyoshi, opted for a classic siege. Their armies encircled the fortress, cutting off all supply lines and communication. The plan was simple, yet brutal. They would wait. They would starve the defenders out, letting hunger and despair do what swords and arrows could not. Days turned into weeks. Arrows arced through the sky, probing attacks were repulsed, and the morale on both sides was tested. The defenders of Itami held strong, their resolve unbroken. The siege had reached a stalemate. Nobunaga's army was powerful, but time was a luxury they couldn't afford. The longer the siege dragged on, the more resources it consumed, and the more vulnerable their own positions became to outside threats. A new approach was needed. It was during this frustrating stalemate that Hashiba Hideyoshi, a man known for his clever and unconventional thinking, proposed a radical idea. He suggested they stop trying to go over the walls and instead go under them. He proposed digging a tunnel, a secret passage that would run from their camp deep beneath the castle's outer defenses and emerge directly inside the fortress walls, perhaps even beneath the main keep itself. This would allow them to bypass the very defenses that had made Itami so unconquerable. The idea was incredibly daring. Tunneling, or mine warfare as it was sometimes called, was a higher-risk, higher-reward tactic. The dangers were immense. A miscalculation in the soil could cause a catastrophic collapse, burying the diggers alive. The noise of the digging, no matter how careful, could be detected by the defenders above, who could then dig a counter-tunnel or simply wait for the attackers to emerge and ambush them. It required immense secrecy, precise engineering, and nerves of steel. But Hideyoshi was convinced it was their best, and perhaps only, shot at a swift victory. His men began to work, shrouded by the darkness of night. Using their knowledge of the local terrain, they dug silently and methodically. Lanterns cast flickering shadows on the determined faces of the samurai and laborers as they carved a path through the earth. Inch by painstaking inch, moving ever closer to the heart of the enemy fortress. After weeks of tense clandestine work, the tunnel was complete. It was a masterpiece of covert engineering, a hidden artery leading directly into the enemy's stronghold. Under the cover of darkness, a select force of elite samurai, handpicked by Hideyoshi, prepared to make their move. They crawled silently through the narrow, cramped passage, the smell of damp earth filling their lungs. Above them, the castle defenders slept, completely unaware of the threat rising from beneath their very feet. When they emerged, it was not with a loud battle cry, but with the chilling efficiency of a surprise attack. They burst out from the tunnel exit, striking key defensive positions and sowing chaos and confusion among the garrison. The defenders, startled from their sleep and attacked from within their own walls, were thrown into disarray. Their command structure crumbled, and panic spread like wildfire. The sudden, unexpected internal assault was the signal the main army had been waiting for. With the defenders distracted and disorganized, Nobunaga's forces stormed the gates. The battle was swift and decisive. The once impenetrable Itami Castle had fallen. The siege was won, not by a massive frontal assault, but by a handful of men and a tunnel. The siege of Itami may not be as famous as legendary battles like Sekigahara or the great sieges of Osaka, but its significance is profound. It demonstrates a critical truth about samurai warfare. It was never just about brute force, armor, and the sharpness of one's sword. It was a chess match where strategy, intelligence, and innovation could overcome the most formidable physical obstacles. Bravery was essential, but it was brains that often won the war. Hideyoshi's audacious tunnel tactic was a stunning success, and it cemented his reputation as a brilliant and resourceful commander. This victory was a key moment in his career, foreshadowing his own meteoric rise. After Nobunaga's eventual death, it would be this very same Hashiba Hideyoshi, later known as Toyotomi Hideyoshi, who would go on to complete the unification of Japan, becoming one of its greatest and most influential leaders. From secret tunnels dug in the dead of night to groundbreaking battlefield tactics, the samurai era was a time rich with the kind of innovation that didn't just win battles, but shaped the entire course of a nation's history. The story of Itami Castle reminds us that sometimes the most powerful weapon is a bold idea. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this story of samurai ingenuity, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell for more epic histories. We'll see you next time.